This is Super Saiyan Squeamish with another Sonic Lost World stage review. We're in the last zone or area of our Sonic Lost World playthrough and in the game itself, which is Lava Mountain Zone. Now, the nice little trait about this section of the game is it's a boss rush segment. So as you'll see, there isn't much stage to review, and instead, we'll re-encounter all the bosses we faced up to this point, and then the final boss. Now that is kind of a downside, but you can expect just about the same. At the end of the day, we'll play through the stage and review it. Though these are encounters we've faced before, so they usually go smoother, you would think. But I will say the biggest element before we get on into this encounter is the environment itself is completely aesthetically different. Obviously. Now, given that, the aesthetic has created some interesting screenshots, though there's none in this, just so you're fair warned. And there is a lovely amount of, well, shall I say, redundant yet enjoyable Sonic gameplay. With that being said, without further ado, here is Lava Mountain Zone 1.
eat me! Blue! Favorite flavor! favorite flavor. Oh, you're the worst.
Okay, so you just watched me encounter Zaz, and I can't remember Blocky Head Dude's name, so there's that. But I didn't mention it in the intro to this stage. That is essentially, well, as you saw, the stage. Instead of just one singular boss, it's two. Now, nothing changes about the gameplay, at least it didn't feel like it. Their encounters were just the same, maybe a little bit faster, but truthfully so, it's just the one after another is the only difference. I do believe that this zone is kind of a letdown, at least in my opinion. Excuse me. In that regard, due to the fact that I was kind of looking forward to some crazy lava stages. With that being said, usually the last area in games like this, whether it be Sonic or other platformers, tends to be really intense, puzzling, or super gimmicky, kind of try-hard-ish mechanics in there, if that makes sense to the average viewer, gamer, or not. With that being said, the definition, I guess you could say, for try-hard in terms of game design, we're not going to judge players. Players are players. With that being said, in terms of game design, I would say a lot of the time I find that in the ending stages or areas of games, whether it be the boss itself or the, entire level, environment, etc., I would say that it comes down into that try-hard category when they just throw every gimmick they've used before rather than introducing new techniques. Tends to be the case. Or they simply just, I don't want to say rehash. Well, that's practically rephrasing that statement. But that being said, overall, that's kind of what I'm getting at with that comment. It gets to the point where sometimes, more often than not, the challenge is very artificial and most definitely something you've encountered previously. Now, moving on from that, what I really do enjoy about that being the letdown was this stage, and stages, area in general, was fairly quick. Whereas a lot of the previous stages were kind of a slog, this was nice and easy, and I don't want to say relaxing, but for me, as a fan of, boss fights, and, having already fought all of them, with one or two being semi-challenging, it was kind of a nice little experience to sit down and just kind of cruise through them. Very reminiscent of some other fond memories from, gaming experiences. Most noted, Sonic. Now, with that being said, before we wrap this up, due to the fact that, as you saw, the fights are the same. It's aesthetically appealing, and other than that, there isn't too many differences. Most of these I did fairly quickly, due to the fact that, there was no surprises to be had. I did say I would point out some more details, but I don't think there is too much to mention. Although, back to the aesthetic note, Zaz in this area was very fun to encounter. It, again, created some interesting screenshots, as well as the lava felt more fitting for his floating moon ball looking thing. Now, before we wrap this up, how I felt about this as a Sonic stage overall, and again, these next stages will probably be fairly quick while we wrap up our title with Sonic Lost World, but I would say overall, it's a 7 out of a 10, easily. It could be better, it could be worse, but again, for being the opening to the end of a game, it is quite delightful, and overall is not that difficult. Do I wish there was some crazy, chaotic platforming? Unironically, yes. Do I resent the fact that it's just boss fights? No. So, it sits at, 6.5 or 7. I'm comfortable saying that. Now, in a personal opinion, it's kind of a 4. Just due to the fact that, again, from kind of a review perspective, which I was playing this in, it was hard to say that it felt very fitting for the end of the game. Although I do think it was enjoyable, and again, I felt perfect, but at the same time, it just felt like they wanted the game to end, which makes sense. So did I. With that being said, if you're a Sonic fan, like, subscribe, share, or leave a comment. Or if you like my voice, same thing. If you're not a Sonic fan, please like, subscribe, share, or leave a comment if you'd like more, or if you just feel like you have something to say, whether it be Sonic related, not Sonic related, or simply something about my gameplay, your experience with it, or a detail you noted. Maybe you saw something funny. Maybe you remember a faster way to get through the stage. Whatever it may be, we're going to go back one sentence because if you're a Sonic fan, if you'd like to leave a comment, whether it be Sonic related to my gameplay, your experience with it, or mine, or just something you wanted to point out, whether it be a flaw or a funny little remark, I do try to keep the 6-7 brain rot out of it. Let's build a Sonic community, or a community in general. If you must, you may share. Now, that's a little bit scrambled. Maybe eggs? Anyways, if you're a Sonic fan, have a Sonic day, and if you're not a Sonic fan, have a day, or whatever it is you may have. Super Saiyan Squeamish, out.
Take it